Hello you guys, welcome back to my channel. My name's Jess and today I thought I would talk to you guys about some books that I recently read, and that's mostly because I actually had a goal for the summer, and that was to read a book that I was reading, The Alienist, as well as another book. And this really inspired me to start reading again, which I'm so excited about. I got a bunch of books from the library recently because our library in Los Angeles reopened. I'm actually not sure when it reopened. It probably has been open for a while and I just completely forgot about it. But I wanted to talk to you guys about the 3 books plus one a little bit that I read during the summer, and I read a couple of others, but it was outside of the summertime. But I wanted to talk to you guys about these ones because I was very passionate about every single one, and yeah, that's what we're doing today. I have seen a lot of people get into reading again. I think it's really exciting to see so many people get into reading, do book review videos. I actually got one of these books as a recommendation from one of those videos. I don't know if you guys are interested in reading or if this is something that you would like to see, but I really have always loved reading, and I pick it up and then put it back down every now and then, and I would really love to make it more of my routine, and I've been trying to do that. So I thought I would show you guys. So I'm going to start off with The Alienist. I actually don't remember when I even picked up this book. It took me forever to read this book, not because it was not interesting at all, but just because of my daily life and what was going on with it all. So this book is basically, it was published in 94, which is when I was born, but it takes place in 1896 in New York, and it's all about some guy who basically, there's a murder that happens, and it essentially follows a journalist who's friends with an alienist. And if you don't know, an alienist is basically a psychologist, same kind of thing, but at the time, psychology is not very widely accepted in the area, and neither is a lot of the forensic sciences that we have today, such as fingerprinting. So they actually have to go through oh my gosh, okay, we can figure out how to take a fingerprint, but then how do we prove that in court? Because again, people just didn't believe in it and didn't understand it. So I really, really loved it. It's not actually based on any kind of real story. However, it is loosely based on Albert Fish, which was a serial killer. I may cover him at some point. I have it on my list. I just haven't done it yet. But basically, I don't want to give any spoilers, but basically this person is killing boys who dress as girls and then are sold like sex workers. So it's kind of a weird topic just because it has to do with kids being sex workers, and it's really tough to digest at some points just because, again, it's just sad and I can't believe that was ever a thing. But overall, I really loved this book. I thought that the last maybe 30 pages was dragged on a little bit, but besides that, it was so exciting the entire way. The only reason I say the last 30 pages was dragged on was because at that point we knew who the killer was, and then it was just explaining and doing a lot of wrap up, which I felt could be maybe a little faster. So overall, I really, really, really loved this book. I don't know how to really I know people usually give it different stars, but I don't know. I didn't think that much through. I guess 5 out of 5. It was great. The next book is Verity, and this one was not at all what I was expecting. I got this off of a YouTube channel recommendation, and if you notice, there's the book looks like it's in pristine condition, and that's because I literally read this in one day. It was so good, and Ryan actually bought me this book. So kind of him. This book, so I'm gonna be honest, at first I was a little bit nervous about it because the way that it's written in terms of the actual pages reminds me of a book that I bought that was self-published from Facebook. And the other book that I'm talking about was pretty good. It was actually a series, and I read 3 of the books, but then it started getting really religious and I wasn't into it. So this book, I instantly mentally associated just because it had the same font, the same type of pages, and the same feel of the book. So I was a little nervous, not gonna lie. I also didn't fully know what it was about. I just took this recommendation at face value and was this person says it's amazing, I'm gonna read it. I did not think that it was gonna have so many sex scenes. I had no idea. That's not usually the type of book that I'm into. I'm not really into romances or things with sex scenes just because I don't know. I like murder mysteries. It's just my thing. So this is basically about a woman who is a writer, and she is struggling a bit with money, and she actually gets this book deal. And basically the author is severely ill and can no longer even move. So it's if J.K. Rowling got sick and couldn't finish Harry Potter, so they had to hire a ghostwriter. Same concept. concept. So this person goes in and she is going through the writer's office to try to get all the notes that she possibly can, because this woman cannot even talk. That's how sick she is and like how much she's hurt. And she's trying to figure out like how to go from there in terms of like the book and all of that. And as she's doing that, she discovers a bunch of like personal journals and notes and things like that that really scare her. And from there, it just deep dives. There's romance, there's horror, there's like surprisingly a jump scare. I like was not sure that I would actually be scared from this book, but I was a little timid after the book. So I really, really, really loved this. I think the ending was pretty good. There were like multiple twists at the end, so I thought that was really great, but I don't remember why. I had like a weird, I feel like the ending like tried to put you on some kind of cliffhanger, but then I was just kind of like, okay, great. So I really, really, really loved this book. I don't know really what to rate it, but I guess if I read it in a day, 5 out of 5 stars. How many pages was this one? Sorry, I'm going through all of the acknowledgements. There we go. It was 314 pages and I read that in a day. This one, much smaller font. I mean like tiny font, but I think this one was like 500 something. Sorry, 487 for this one. But yeah, so Verity, really loved it a lot. This one I didn't like read over summer, but I did buy it. Well, Ryan bought it for me also, and I wanted to share it with you guys because I briefly mentioned it, and I started, as you can see, I like started dog earing a few things, or just like sticky noting. I don't want to dog ear this book, but this is a book on unsolved deaths. There is a bunch, this is like a series of sorts. There's a bunch of different ones, like unsolved conspiracy theories, unsolved murders, unsolved deaths. No, murders and deaths are the same thing. You get what I'm trying to say. But there's a bunch of them. They are kind of all over the place in terms of like age, I guess you could say. Some of them are like way back when in like whatever BC, and then some of them are much more recent. So I figured that this would be a really cool, even if I just want to read it, that's awesome. Also, if I want to cover any of these stories, that would be cool. And they are broken up into different categories. So let me see if it even like has like, yeah, here we go. Disappeared, killers unknown, accident, suicide, or murder, conspiracy killings, and then they were all lost, ... group tragedies. Goodness. So I was just very interested in this. Again, I didn't fully read it. I just wanted to tell you guys about it in case you guys were interested, because obviously if you're on the channel, you're probably interested in true crime to some degree, unless you just watch my Saturday videos, which that's cool too. Hi. And then the last one that I read was The Institute. I feel like I read another one, but I'm pretty sure this is the last one I read. So this one is a Stephen King novel. I mentioned in my camping vlog that I was reading this book. I also read Desperation by Stephen King. I don't know why Stephen King used to always intimidate me when I was younger, and I thought that his books were very advanced. I think that it's really just the size of the books, because his books are like beach reads where like you can just like be chilling and doing whatever, and they're not that hard to comprehend, but they're always really great stories. So I love his novels. This one was not scary like Desperation was. Desperation also was my very first Stephen King novel. This is only my second, and so I was nervous because that one ended in like a religious ending, so I was just not sure if that was Stephen King's style or if that was just that book. So this one did not end in a religious way at all. It kind of reminded me of MK Ultra in a weird way, where like it was basically about like telepathic and telekinetic children who get sent off to an institute, and they are meant to do some job, and we really don't know until the end. I don't want to give any spoilers. And essentially you follow one of the kids from stage 1 of getting kidnapped all the way to trying to escape and that whole process. And I don't think it's, I mean, like obviously in the story he escapes, because otherwise why would it be an interesting story? So I don't think that's a spoiler at all, but he does get to a point where he's escaping, and that's like, you know, a third of the way in the book, and so on. And so it just unravels the whole thing. As you know, in Stephen King novels, people die. Like it's kind of like Game of Thrones in the sense of like nobody's safe. Like you never know who's gonna die next, and if like don't get comfortable with any characters. And I love those kinds of stories because when I have the feeling of like there's no way that they can kill off this character, I don't know, it just makes me feel too secure. I like when authors test you a little bit, and I feel like they did that with this. So really, really, really loved this book. I don't think I read it as quickly or in depth as the other two, honestly. I still, I guess, would give it 5 out of 5, maybe like 4 out of 5, but I really, really did love this novel a lot. I just wasn't like as enthralled, and like it wasn't one of those things where I would want to lose sleep over it, whereas like Verity, I literally lost sleep over wanting to finish the book. So I think that's like more than 5 stars. You know what I mean? Like that's just like not comparable in a way. So anyway, Institute, really amazing. So these were the books that I did read. I'm currently reading Casual Vacancy. I was reading another book that we don't need to get into right now, but I am reading Casual Vacancy. It's by J.K. Rowling. It has nothing to do with Harry Potter. I thought it was a murder mystery, and it's totally not. So same kind of thing. I'm less involved in that book than I was in this one, only because it's just not as like, you know, mystery and that kind of thing that I'm normally really into. So that being said, it's a really great book so far. So I'm really excited about it. And I am also, well, I got 3 other books aside from Casual Vacancy from the library. And then in addition to that, I'm trying to think about ways to use my Kindle more often, because that's something that I definitely don't utilize. It's not mine, it's borrowed, but it's like a long-term borrow. I'm really thinking about ways to use that. I know you can always borrow books on your phone and on Kindle. So if you guys don't feel comfortable going to your library, first of all, don't forget about the library, but there's also 2 apps. One is called Overdrive, one is called Libby. I think they own each other from what I understand, but whatever one works best for you. Basically, you can rent books and ebooks and like, how do you call them? Like audiobooks from the library, but to your phone or to a Kindle or a tablet or whatever works for you. So I highly recommend that as an option as well if you prefer not to buy books or anything like that. And then my last recommendation, if you are the kind of person that likes to like own the book, I definitely love to own the book. There is a website called Better World Books. They're all used books. They also donate based off of the amount of money that you've like purchased. So like this book, for example, I think was $6. When we were at the bookstore, it was like 30 something dollars. Here it says it's 30, and online it was $6. And then they also emailed me and said that they donated 3 books on my behalf to like, I can't remember which charity now. They're a really great resource. They, you know, for college students, they have textbooks and things like that too, which is always nice. That's how I heard of it, was someone who used to use it in that way. But I really like it for these types of books. That's actually also where I got The Alienist. So highly recommend. The books are in great condition. This obviously used to be at a library, and the majority of the way that The Alienist currently looks in terms of like all this is all for me, because it's been in my bag forever. So that's all I got for you guys. I feel like I've been talking so fast, so I'm so sorry. I'm like very hyper to talk to you guys about these books, but I'm curious to know if you guys have picked up any books recently, and if you have, what they are, or what types of books you generally like to read. I know some people, because they're liking true crime, they don't really like to read true crime because they want to get away from it. Other people like me, it's like my favorite thing ever. I always loved mystery. So would definitely be curious to know what you guys read, or what your preferred method is. Do you like audiobooks? Do you like ebooks? Do you like paper? What's your favorite thing? Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm so sorry that I'm this hyper. I don't know what's wrong. I don't know why I'm this hyper. Hopefully I calm down, because it is 8:30 p.m. and I should not have this much energy. So we'll see what happens next. Thank you guys again for watching. If you guys ever have any recommendations for Saturday videos or for true crime videos, you can either leave it in the comments below, or you could put it in the Google form that's in the description. I really appreciate you guys. Seriously, it's really special to me that I get to share what I'm doing and like what I'm reading. It's just fun for me. So I'm excited to see your guys' books that you like and your recommendations, because I obviously love your guys' recommendations. If you guys have any book recommendations too, put them in the comments. I would love to read some of your books, and I will see you guys on Tuesday. Bye guys.